Supermicro stock is down over 11% as I am recording, as there are reports that the Department of Justice is doing a probe on Supermicro based on these financial accusations we've heard about in the past few weeks. You know who else the Department of Justice is probing? You for not hitting the thumbs up and subscribe button, so make sure to get that started. Now, all jokes aside, in today's episode, what we're going to do is just take a closer look at what's happening here with Supermicro. What are some of the updates? Maybe just a closer look at the timeline, and me just share my overall thoughts at the end. So let's get started. All right, so we can see Supermicro stock sitting at $406 as I am recording. Earlier today, the stock actually dropped to $380. We can see right now the stock is down roughly 11%. Year to date, the stock is still up 42%. So even if you got in early, you might still be in the green. But from its year to date high, the stock is down over 65% with a market cap of roughly $23 billion. Now, for those that are not familiar with the timeline, a few weeks ago after the company reported earnings, there was a short activist that kind of reported that Supermicro was doing some fishy accounting things. Supermicro, after that, ended up delaying their 10K report, which made things even look more sketchy. But Supermicro, throughout the timeline, has kind of mentioned that, hey, look, via CEO sending letters to their customers that, hey, look, these accusations are false. Now, earlier today, we did get a report from Wall Street that right now the Department of Justice is in their early stages of probing, of kind of looking into this for Supermicro. Again, this is all based on reports, and we still don't have a true confirmation from the company, from the company itself or from the Department of Justice. So obviously, this could be just, hey, the Department of Justice heard about this, they saw the delays, and they could just be looking into it further, and maybe later on it might come out to either being truth or false. So again, this doesn't guarantee anything, but obviously it adds more risk to the stock. It adds more speculation, and at the end of the day, in the stock market, the worst thing you want to do is have a lot of uncertainties, and when you do have a lot of uncertainties, you have a lot of volatility in the stock. So that's all we have about the main update with Supermicro. I just kind of wanted to share my overall thoughts. Now, if you guys are familiar with my channel, you guys know I am bullish in the semiconductor market. In the past few days, we've kind of heard a lot from various sources that we've been following that the data center market is expected to grow at dramatic levels, right? We're kind of going from few hundred megawatts of data centers to eventually hitting 1 gigawatts to eventually hitting about 5 gigawatts of data center infrastructure. And that means two things: a lot of AI GPUs, so obviously means very bullish for our favorite company here, NVDA, but it also means that there's going to be a nice demand for AI servers, so obviously Supermicro is one that can benefit from here. There are other two companies that are really known in this space, and now with Supermicro kind of coming down, their other two players are HPE or Dell Technologies, and we can see on forward basis, HPE is currently cheaper than Supermicro. Dell Technologies is a little bit more expensive. Now looking at forward 1 year, very similar. We can see HPE kind of sitting at similar levels to Supermicro, and Dell Technologies being a little bit more expensive. So personally, me, I don't invest too much in the hardware space, especially something like this where there's a lot of competitors. If I had to choose one, I think any of these would kind of follow the trend, especially if they are going to be winners of these megawatt data center solutions, right? I think right now, if the reports of AI evolving is true, the amount of AI server growth that can come from it is pretty strong. That is not necessarily a one market wins all. Supermicro obviously has its strength because it does focus a lot on liquid cooling, and it's a little bit ahead of the game in that aspect as well. Now, I wouldn't say Supermicro is definitely a buy at these levels. I kind of talked about it in my previous episode. I think when we first heard about this Supermicro's drama, I kind of mentioned that this is the time when, as an investor, you have to pick a side. And there's three ways that you can play it, and this is exactly what I mentioned in the previous episode, so you can take a closer look at that. But there's three ways to play it. One, you kind of wait for the smoke to settle, and you don't purchase anything until after everything has been settled with either the Department of Justice finally coming out and saying, hey, look, everything's good, with Supermicro saying, hey, look, they did kind of probe us, but we can assure you that everything is good. And obviously, if that was to happen, if you wait for the smoke to settle, returns on the stock would be a little bit different. After they announced that, obviously the stock price would be a lot higher, but you are eliminating a lot of the risk because, like I mentioned, the stock market cares more about uncertainties. And when there's too many uncertainties, it creates a lot of volatility. Now, the second way is you can click aside now. I think with the stock price right now, if they do come out, like I mentioned, saying, hey, look, nothing is wrong, Supermicro is going to fly pretty high, and you'll be able to take those wins. Now, unfortunately, if in the future we kind of see that that these short activists were right and that the Department of Justice did find something sketchy, then Supermicro can tank. And that's the risk you do with buying right now. Now, the final choice is just not doing anything and just waiting for or just purchasing some of their competitors like HPE, like Dell Technologies, because if this overall AI market is as big as I previously mentioned, then those can also benefit in this space. Again, I think there's a lot of semiconductor companies outside of the hardware space, right? Supermicro is not a hardware company, but there's a lot of players in the semiconductor space that I've talked about in the past that have given us great buying opportunities, and that's who I would rather focus in than somebody like this industry. But I can definitely see the growth potential here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick update. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.